Welcome to episode 6 of Where Are They Now? I'm your host and broadcaster, Davide DeCipio. Today we're joined with former goaltender and current netminder at Dalhousie University in U Sports, Connor Hicks. Connor, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Growing up in Canada, Connor, we'll dive right into your playing career. Local kid. What made you fall in love to play hockey?
I just started playing at a young age. Started watching the Ottawa Senators growing up. Always loved it. I got into it at a pretty young age. I started around when I was 5, and I was a player for probably the first 5-6 years. And around 10 or 11 years old, I decided to make the switch to goalie, and stuck with it ever since.
What led you to go between the pipes?
Honestly, I got cut one year from the highest level as a player, and I wasn't too happy about that. So the next year, I decided just to try out as a goalie to see what happens, and I ended up making it. And then ever since that day, I kind of just stuck with being a goalie.
Who were some of the goalies that you looked up to, try to model your game after, and even now try to model your game after?
Ever since Carey Price came into the league, I think most people would probably say his name, but just watching him play and how calm he is and how athletic, and he just makes the game look so easy. So I've been kind of keeping an eye on him and trying to detail my game after him. So
going through the AAA ranks, you cracked AAA roster as a netminder. You play with the Ottawa Senators AAA organization, who have now rebranded as Myers Automotive, but you're part of one of the last teams with the Ottawa Senators AAA program. Your minor midget year, you played with Zach Senyshyn, who was a first-round pick of the Boston Bruins. Take me through your minor hockey career and the coaches that helped you develop.
So yeah, we played AAA for 3 years. When AAA came into the thing, we joined with Nepean. So Canada Nepean joined, and we had pretty much the same team for over 3 years. I think only 1 or 2 names changed throughout the 3 years. So we were like a family. It was I loved my minor hockey. I still look back on those days. It's probably one of the best times of my playing career, just for the group of guys you play with, and you kind of grew up playing with them. Saw everyone develop, and seeing where everyone kind of ended up was pretty cool. And I'm still in touch with all those guys today.
And did you find it was easier for for Canada and Nepean to merge together compared to some of the other teams in the AAA organizations in Ottawa, of all the different minor hockey associations that come together? Did you feel like there's a lot more familiarity between your team?
Yeah, for sure. I think because obviously Canada and Nepean are 10 minutes away from each other. So when the teams merged, we were really close to each other. And if you ever want to hang out with that group of friends, it's 10 minutes down the road, where if you played somewhere else in the valley or something, you could be an hour away from each other. So we felt like a really close team just because of how close we actually lived, and we were always together. So that made it pretty special.
And now in your minor midget year, the biggest tournament is the OHL Cup, and your team participated in that tournament. Unfortunately, teams from HCO don't participate in that tournament anymore. But what do you remember most from that?
It was a great experience. Before the year, that was pretty much our goal, was to make that tournament, and everyone's goal that year was to get drafted to the OHL, and that was pretty much the tournament to play well at, to get your name out there. And I remember that tournament, we were super excited to go. Obviously, didn't go the way we expected it or wanted it to go, but overall the experience was great, and it was one of the best tournaments we played in.
What was the best team that you encounter or remember being there?
I remember playing against the Marlies. Marlies growing up are always the top team. We seem to play them in every tournament somehow, and they're all 3 of their guys, or probably more than that. Probably half their team now are all drafted or playing pro hockey now and stuff. So yeah, they're always the best team growing up.
When you speak, when the big comparison that goes on between Ottawa hockey, minor hockey, and Toronto minor hockey, when it comes time for especially your big year and your draft year and minor midget, how much do you think minor hockey in Ottawa has evolved since those years?
I think it's a lot. Obviously, a lot of the Toronto teams tend to write off hockey in Ottawa. And actually, that year we played in the Gold Cup, which is every league kind of makes a team. And we ended up going there and winning the tournament. And I think that kind of opened the eyes of everyone that Ottawa hockey is strong, and that we can compete with any other teams out there.
And now that was before the OHL Gold Cup, you're selected in the 7th round by the now defunct Belleville Bulls. What was some of your memories of draft day?
It was a long day. Seventh round. We started watching at 9 a.m. I wasn't picked until 1 or 2 p.m. Just watching the screen all day. You're just waiting for your name to pop up. And once it does, it's just a sign of relief. I can't really put into words how I felt. At that point, it was the most exciting day of my hockey career. So all the hard work I put in kind of paying off. And I knew that's where kind of the work was just starting though.
And you cracked with the Metcalf Jets in your first season of junior hockey, another now defunct team in Metcalf. What did you learn most from your transition to minor hockey to junior?
I think the biggest thing was just playing with men. Coming in at age, I was 16 years old, and at the time you could have 22-year-olds in the league. So going from playing against only kids your age to guys that are 5 years older than you is a big difference just in speed and the maturity of players, and just the junior hockey style of how much faster and quicker pace it is. It really helped me develop and get ready for the next step.
And you go from junior B to another even bigger step to the OHL for your 17-year-old year in Belleville. How tough was it to leave home for the first time in your hockey career?
It was tough when I first left, but I got super fortunate with a great billet family. I'm super close with them still see them all the time. They made the move very easy on me. I kind of felt right at home as soon as I moved in. And being only 2.5 hours away too also helped. My family was up every weekend watching games, and I never really felt like I was alone, which was nice.
Of course, Belleville then moved to Hamilton the year after. Of course, probably one of the more the saddest scenes in the OHL in recent memory was that final game in Game 4 against Barrie in the opening round. You guys ended up getting swept, and just I believe the jersey was left at center ice. Take me through that whole season for you, both on the ice and with everything going on with the selling of the team and then the move.
It was a very, very tough year, I think. I fell in love with the city, and you can ask any player that played there, they all love playing there. It's such a hockey town. They take such good care of you. And as soon as since the news came out that they got sold, our game started selling out every game. The hockey town really came out together and made it special. And that last game was obviously a very heartbreaking game. Losing the playoffs is one thing, but also leaving a town that you called home and built so many relationships with was a very tough time.
Of course, your first year in the OHL was against the Memorial Cup champions in the same division, the Oshawa Generals. Ottawa also came on strong, came second in that division, facing guys like Travis Konechny in that division. Was it surreal at times to play against guys of that caliber?
Yeah, it was. It was kind of cool to see the names that were already drafted, and it was kind of weird to think I'm on the same ice as them right now. And actually that year, I think I played Oshawa 7 of the 8 games, so I got used to them pretty quick. But yeah, it was great hockey, and you can see why they were a Mem Cup champion team. They were professionals at such a young age.
How well did you feel that you got along with your goalie partner your first year in Belleville, Charlie Graham, who was a 19-year-old, and then you ended up playing together the following year? How well do you feel you two bonded, and he let you adapt to the OHL?
I thought it was awesome. He was a great guy. He was a great friend, and he taught me everything about junior. He kind of went through the ranks too. I came in at a young age, and he was the first one to come up to me and introduce himself and talk about his time and how he was always be there for me no matter what. Especially as a young goalie, he could obviously go through tough times and kind of long spells of not playing, and he was always there looking out for me. And he acted like a pro in junior hockey, and he set the way for me and obviously helped my development too a lot.
After you adapted and fell in love with one city in Belleville, then you moved on to Hamilton, which is basically the same, which was the same franchise, same group of guys for the most part. How tough was it to adjust to a new city?
It was tough. It was the good part is it's the same group of guys, so that part stayed the same, which was nice. But adapting to another new house to live in, a new billet family, a new city I've never really been to or lived in. It was a big, maybe a culture shock too, going from such a small town of Belleville to Hamilton, which is such a big city. And yeah, it did take long to get to adjusted, but also there was a great city to play in. The rink was amazing. The fans are great, and that year was a great year as well.
And you played under one of the winningest coaches in OHL history, and George Burnett, for your 1 year in Belleville, and then that 1 year in Hamilton. What were some words of wisdom that you learned from, I guess, the reigning coach of the OHL champions?
He just, at a young age, he just came in and said, "You made the team for a reason. You just go out there and do your job, and that's all you have to do is stop the puck. That's what you're there for." So he said not to make sure not to put too much pressure on yourself. Enjoy the time you're there. Enjoy the games, and he made sure that if something was going wrong, he would let you know, but also in a good way to motivate you. And yeah, he was a great coach. I still look up to him to this day.
And just prior to the season, you're traded to the Flint Firebirds alongside Fedor Gordeev in exchange for another Ottawa native and Will Bitton. What was, I guess, another adjustment to Flint? Of course, another team that was just starting off. And your overall thoughts once you were dealt to Flint?
It was a big shock. I did not see it coming. I went to the rink one day and they said I was traded. So that was a big shock, was just hearing the news and having to pack up your house in a day and move to another new city, new family. I was fortunate if I lived with Fedor, so we already knew each other before. So it was nice to at least know someone there. And obviously you probably didn't hear great things about Flint before going. But once I got there and met all the staff and everyone, it was an awesome place to play. They treated you like an NHL team. The facility was amazing. The fans were great. The hockey was great. It beat my expectations for sure.
Do you feel like that was your best season overall together that you had played up to that point in your junior career?
I think so. Yeah, it was. I went there with the expectations to play a lot of games, and that's what happened. It was nice to kind of feel like the man at the time, where I knew if I played bad, I wouldn't be saying they'd let me play again. And it kind of took the pressure off of it that way. And I think the team came along together great too. We ended up making the playoffs. We ended up playing the Sioux Greyhounds, who ended up winning, but we always played great hockey against them. And we were a competitive team, and I think it showed.
And what do you remember most of your first OHL shutout against the Niagara Ice Dogs in your only season in Flint?
It was exciting. It was my third year in the league, and I still never had one. So it was obviously pretty exciting. And I always remember it was on Christmas sweater night. So whenever you get to wear those special jerseys and auction them off and be part of a good cause, it also helps. And adding a shutout onto that just made it an extra great feeling.
And then can't go this over the course of this interview without mentioning this. Your invitation to Detroit Red Wings camp in your time in junior. How did that process all come about, and what did you learn most from NHL development camp?
Yeah, after the draft, I knew it was my third year through the draft, so I wasn't planning on getting drafted or anything. And the day after, I got a call from them asking me if I wanted to come to the prospect tournament at the end of summer and to main camp after. And obviously, I was ecstatic about that. And then the next day, they actually called me back, invited me to their rookie camp too. So I ended up going there, and that's when I learned a lot about the game and how professional it is, and the work that gets put into it, and how professionals conduct themselves.
Was it extra special that it was an original 16?
I think so too. Growing up, I always loved the team. I always watched Detroit. I had a bunch of jerseys growing up, so it was pretty special, especially getting to play with players like that. Was Cronwall was there in the time where I watched him for 10 years before that, and seeing some big names like Jimmy Howard and guys like that. It was just a really cool experience.
And one of your old goalie partners, he was only a 16-year-old, I believe, at that time. Caden Fulcher, with your time in Hamilton, ended up signing with Detroit. Were you one of the first ones that reached out to him about how Detroit was run?
Actually, I didn't. I was traded away. We played together I played like 20 games in the end of the season. The next year, I ended up traded, and he stayed in Hamilton. So obviously, when he signed, I texted him, I reached out to him, congratulated him. He's a great goalie. He saw him improve, and he really deserved it.
And after the one season in Flint, You end up going to London Knights training camp at the end of August. And then I believe it was Joseph Raymakers was out of the lineup in Sault Ste. Marie. And you end up signing in Sault Ste. Marie for the first couple of months of the season. And of course, Sault Ste. Marie ended up winning the Western Conference that year. Sault Ste. Marie, of course, had a great team that year. How was that experience for you?
It was a great experience. I knew going into Sioux, they had a 19-year-old goalie who was already drafted in the NHL and be playing a lot of games. And I knew going into it kind of what my role would have been like. The guys were great. I'm still friends with some of those guys now. It was a great city. Sioux is a great city. I love my time there. And it wasn't long-lived, but it was obviously a good time.
Probably one of the craziest games you played in the Sioux was against Ottawa. It was one that went back and forth. Ottawa changed goalies and on the wrong end of it, 5-4, I believe, in overtime. Is that probably one game? Was it always a good feeling to play against your hometown team?
Personally, I really never liked playing Ottawa. I don't know. It was just a weird pressure about it, especially playing in Ottawa. It was never a thing I really enjoyed, but since it's my hometown, I ended up playing there a lot. But it's weird. Yeah, I never really liked playing them. We played them the first game of the year in Sioux. Obviously, Sioux was a great team that year, so they, I think, had 8 or 9 guys gone to NHL training camps. So it was obviously a different type of game. But yeah, it was interesting for sure.
And we mentioned it before, but Sault Ste. Marie went on to the OHL finals against Hamilton, another one of your former teams. What sides were you rooting for in that OHL final?
Obviously, I was rooting for both teams, but I had to go with Hamilton for sure. I had a lot of great friends on that team, and just seeing them progress and become the team they did and how dominant they were, it was a pretty cool feeling to see them win.
So after 3 games with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, you're ultimately released by the Hounds, and Martin Dagenet and the Ottawa Junior Senators come calling. What led you to choose OJS?
Actually, so when I was in Major Bantam and the junior age, I was actually drafted by OJS at 15 years old. So my rights were with them. So I played my junior career, and then when I got released, it was kind of pressure time to try and find somewhere to play where I'd be happy and love the game. And Marty called in. I went up, looked up the roster. They had a great team. It was back home. I've been away from home for 4 years previously, so I thought it would be a great place to finish my junior career.
And was it also an extra bit of motivation that the team was hosting the Fred Page Cup? And of course, the 2 previous years they'd lost in the Bogart Cup finals for that right to play in the Fred Page Cup. So you knew that you were in it?
Yeah, for sure. That obviously helps too when you have the chance of going to a national championship tournament by winning this one tournament. And obviously by the previous 3 years, CP kind of had their name, and all you really heard was the Carleton Place Canadians and stuff. So I thought it'd be great to go play for a team that was in contention and could maybe take kind of the reign away from Carleton Place.
A 160 goals against average and a 946 save percentage before your commitment to Dalhousie University in U Sports. How was the adjustment period for you coming down to junior A?
It was there wasn't really an adjustment period. The hockey was great hockey still. The guys were awesome. The coaching staff was awesome. I kind of felt right at home at that first game. It was you could tell it was a pretty special team, and something great could have happened from that team, which ended up happening. But it was a pretty quick experience or quick transformation of that team, and it was a great time.
How was your relationship with the coaching staff and as well with goaltending coach Steph Levere and your goalie partner Francis Boisvert at the time, who ended up taking the reins with you after you as a starter a couple of years ago?
The coaching staff was awesome. They when I came in, they were super opening and told us what their plans were and made me feel right at home and special when I first got there. So they really helped me. And then going to Frankie, he's a great kid. He's one of my best friends to this day. Seeing him develop and to go where he is now is a great thing to watch. I'm super proud of him.
And take me through that playoff ride. It didn't start off the greatest for you, but then as the second round, and then in the finals against Carleton Place, you really picked up your game. You end up winning playoff MVP with going 12-4-1 over the playoff run for OJS, capturing the first Bogart Cup since 2002, taking through the ride.
Yeah, obviously the first round was against Pembroke. Matchup wise, they were great against us. They were one of our tougher series for sure. Whenever we played them, it was always an interesting game. We ended up winning, I think, in 6 games there. Once you win that first round, you can kind of start feeling that the pressure is getting more and more. We get to Brockville, we went in 7 games. That was a really hard series to be a part of. That's when the pressure really started sinking in. And then once we won that 7th game, the finals came along, and we knew we were playing Carleton Place, and the excitement was through the roof. We remember winning in 5 games. I don't think many people really expected us to do that, but beating Carleton Place was in the finals. Probably one of my favorite hockey moments my entire life. We winning that and going into the tournament in such a high, coming off of a championship was, I think, really helped us in the front page too. So
you mentioned that it gave you a big boost heading in, especially with the Fred Page Cup on your home ice. You go 4-0, which is really, you played a tight game against Carleton Place yet again in that tournament. I believe in the round robin, another one against College Francais Longueuil, who ended up being pretty handedly in the finals. But it goes against average sub 150 for you in the Fred Page Cup. Were you just how high was your confidence level going into that tournament?
Personally, mine was high, but I think the confidence of the team was the highest. We were playing our best hockey of the year, and I think we all knew it. Every game we were going into, we knew how we had to play, and we performed at a high level. And I think it showed there. Yeah, you said my numbers were good, but I think a big part of that's to the team and how well we played defensively as a team. And I think that's what really helped us win the championship.
RBC Cup, you guys ended up falling to the then national champions in Chilliwack, but you guys were right in it till the very end. Almost every game went to overtime. Take me through that experience.
That was a great experience. That was probably the highlight of my junior career for sure. Getting to spend 13 days in BC was pretty special. Staying in a hotel with just your team and being a part of the biggest junior A tournament in the world, which was really, really special. Obviously, it didn't go the way that we hoped, but we were right there in every game. It easily could have went in a different direction, but it's sad the way it ended, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Now you're supposed to enter your 3rd season at Dalhousie University, but unfortunately no winter sports in U Sports this year. But take me through your first couple of seasons of now post-junior hockey.
It's been great. Obviously, coming to Dalhousie in the city of Halifax it's awesome. The level of hockey, I'd say, probably the strongest university league in Canada, with the amount of national championships and the amount of times that this league sends out national championship teams. The hockey is amazing. The schooling is great. Everything about university hockey is awesome. And
little kicker here, question for you. One of your trademarks on your mask was a Lego figurine. How did that configuration all come about?
So Freddie Anderson was in Anaheim when I first saw him have the mask, and he had the Lego guy on the side of his helmet. And I just, for some reason, thought it looked really cool. And ever since that day, I kind of just had it on my helmet.
Now, Connor, here, last question for you. It's that time of the podcast where I turn it over to you. Anybody you want to shout out and say any words of wisdom to the now players on the Ottawa Junior Senators and the organization?
First off, for the guys in the organization, wish you guys all luck. You guys take your time, make sure you realize where you are and really enjoy it, because it does fly by. And make sure you enjoy it. And shout out obviously to the OJS team that I played on. I miss all you guys. Hope you guys are all doing well, and look forward to catching up to you with COVID when COVID is over.
All right, Connor, thank you so much for taking the time. Best of luck once hockey season once again gets going, and we'll chat again sometime down the line.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.